On this episode, a writer took an interpretation of an existing law, made it his own, and turned it into a movie. We watched Double Jeopardy, and you're listening to Geeked Out.
Popcorn in our hands, ready for the show. From the classics to the blockbusters, we're always in the know. Throwing references like confetti, we keep it real. Geeked Out Podcast, we here to make you feel. We're the critics you can trust.
Hey, everybody, welcome into another episode of Geeked Out. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Juan.
And as you heard in the intro, we watched Double Jeopardy
You watch Geeked Out? Oh, that's my favorite.
for this episode. We, after coming off of our Spooktober for Halloween, we decided we were going to move into some guilty pleasure movies of ours, and the basic guidelines that we've kind of discussed and decided for this is we're going to use the tomato meter, the critic scores on Rotten Tomato, and basically try and find something that is around 40 to 45% or lower. But I mean, there's all kinds of movies that are rated low like that people genuinely love, and
Oh, yeah.
obviously there are those that we feel the same way about. So that's how we're kind of going about doing this, and this was my choice for this first episode, and
It was. Oh, yeah.
I chose Double Jeopardy.
A
Now,
fine movie.
well, actually, let's get into that. Is obviously both of us have seen this before. Do you remember when you first saw this? Did it have any kind of impact on you? I can't tell you when the first time I saw it. I know this probably would have been a movie network type situation.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think this was a rental for me because, I mean, when this came out in '99, I was 13. So around that time, I was probably gravitating more towards the American Pies, the Can't Hardly Waits, the raunchy boob comedies that
Mm-hmm.
we all watched as teenagers. So this I would have come to a little bit later in my teenage years, but it's a movie that I've always really enjoyed, and as absolutely insane as the premise is, I've always had a lot of fun with it. How about you?
Oh, pretty much mirrored the same experience. This definitely was not the theater experience for me, nor was it a blockbuster experience, but it might have been. I don't think so. Um, if I had to, if I had a guess, I'd say it's definitely a movie network watch for me as well. Um, yeah, I definitely remember. And as for impact, it definitely impacted my view of how the American law judicial system and law works. So
Yeah, we're definitely going to be getting into that because I think
I
we
thought,
all.
yeah, I thought a certain aspect of this movie, the title of the movie is verbatim what or how they explain it in the movie. Much like I'm sure a lot of people who have watched this movie thought so as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought this was, like you say, verbatim, the letter of the law. This was how it goes.
Because they said it in the movie, so it has to be true.
Doing some research that is not true, and we'll get to that when we do. But first off, we're gonna give you the details on the movie. So it was originally released on September 24th of 1999. It made a worldwide box office of 177 million on just a $70 million budget.
Okay.
It is a 6.5 out of 10 currently on IMDb, and here's where it fits our criteria. The tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes has it as a 28%,
Oh,
whereas the
wow.
popcorn meter, which is the fans, has it at 61.
Which, yes,
The movie,
I definitely. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I personally, I fall more towards the audience
I do too.
on this one. Yeah, yeah.
It was directed by Bruce Beresford or Beresford. It stars
Okay.
Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee Jones, Bruce Greenwood, and Annabeth Gish. And the basic plot of the movie is a woman is framed for her husband's murder and sent to prison. When she learns that he is still alive, she vows to seek revenge.
Hmm.
Now, before we get started, I went through the four kind of main actors in the movie. I don't know about you, but I've seen him in a ton of movies since then. Up until I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, Bruce Greenwood to me was always just the guy from Double Jeopardy.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those actors like that guy. We've definitely seen him in other things, but it's the it's usually the first thing you see a, an actor like that in is how you define him for the majority of when you see him in things. That makes sense. Yeah. It's when I look at him, I think there was another movie, but I can't even think of it. But
Well,
whenever I
he's
do
been
see
in
him, I do think of Double Jeopardy for sure.
yeah, he's been in quite a few movies, and a lot of people like to refer to him as the American Sean Bean because it seems like he gets killed in almost every movie that he's in. So, and I mean,
I could see that.
if you know that running joke about Sean Bean is, I think out of all the movies that he's ever been in, I think off the top of my head, somebody asked me this question once, and I think I was able to name two, maybe three movies that he actually survives all the way through.
Yeah, I don't think I could win that one. And I couldn't even go into TV because he'd be dying in TV too.
Ennard Stark, yep. That was the big one in that season, that show. That's what really let you know that nobody was really safe in Game of Thrones. Was when they took his head. Spoilers for
Yeah.
anybody
Oh,
who
you
hasn't
mean
seen Game of Thrones.
the guy that they like promoted as the star of season one of the whole show, really? At that
Yeah,
point?
he was. I thought that entire show revolved around him. And then I think it was like the ninth or the 10th episode of the season, they execute him, and I was like,
Yeah,
now where are we going
yeah,
with this?
yeah. Yeah, that was one of the defining moments that just solidified Game of Thrones into just legendary status.
Yeah, like I say, that was the moment when I watched that show when I realized, okay, if you can kill off the guy who you've basically been promoting as the star, ain't nobody safe.
Yeah, because they don't do it. They don't do that. It's
In
very
most
rare.
shows, no, it won't.
At that point, it's very unheard of. Unless that fucking show is planning on one season and one season only, then you can get away with that for sure. But to carry on multiple seasons and to do that with your star, yeah, man, it definitely made a statement. And it's just one of the reasons why Game of Thrones is as beloved as it is.
Yeah. So for this movie, we are going to kind of loosely go through different points of the plot, and we're going to discuss our thoughts on it. So to start off, Libby Parsons, played by Ashley Judd, is a happily married woman with a son and a wealthy husband, Maddie and Nick. During a romantic sailing trip, Libby wakes up covered in blood with Nick missing and a bloody knife nearby. The Coast Guard eventually finds evidence suggesting Nick was murdered, and Libby is convicted of his murder, despite her protests of innocence.
That scene, bruh. That scene, bruh.
So, first of
That
all,
scene, man.
the movie, when it starts, you can obviously tell that they are a wealthy family. Like, they've got
I mean,
this gigantic house on the water. Their
yeah,
windows are basically floor to ceiling. I mean, it's a beautiful home. And
Yeah, they're
then,
definitely well off.
well, but then the funniest part is he surprises her by telling her that he's put in an offer on this sailing boat, which she has already previously said is the nicest boat on the island. And her immediate reaction is, we can't afford that. Look around at the fucking house you live in. Yes, you can.
That's when I started to question. I'm like, wait a minute, that boat didn't doesn't seem that it's like it doesn't seem like it would be out of there.
No, it's
You
just a big sailing
know,
boat. It's not like it's a 300-foot yacht.
that's what I'm saying. It's not a fucking mega yacht. I'm sure you could both. I'm sure you could afford it. Yeah, definitely raised an eyebrow there. But I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, it seems like you could. I thought it was
But I
weird.
mean, this opening party does put certain things into question because obviously you can tell, like I say, they're wealthy. But during the party, you can see a couple guys trying to talk to Nick about, oh, did you get a letter from this bank? And obviously there's kind of hints that his finances might not be doing quite as well as he is kind of letting his wife believe.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're also in this party introduced to her best friend, I guess, who eventually will be fucking her husband. I don't know
Be
if
their
that's
friend.
going I don't know if that's going on currently or if it happens later. I'm assuming it's going on currently.
I'm going to assume that they did, but they didn't do any like setup or they didn't make put any hints out during those scenes
No.
when they were all together that something else was going on between them.
No, but I have to assume that they're somehow in on it together because if they're not, I have a glaring question of how did he get off that fucking boat? Like when when she wakes up and she finds that he's gone, they are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And it's even prefaced before that when he comes up from underneath and he says, "I don't see land." So you've got to travel quite a ways out to not be able to see land in any direction.
Right? And they
So
were traveling.
somebody had to be in on this with him to come out and pick him up because even the cop says to her in like the next day the water temperature was like 51 degrees. He would get hypothermia and die if he's trying to
Yes,
swim in that.
yes, somebody definitely picked him up, and the only explanation is it would have to be that woman.
Yeah, because there's nobody else who would be in on it, but she's
And it would
babysitting
make
their
sense.
but
It
she's
would make
babysitting
sense.
their son. Like, did she
Sorry.
bring the son out onto the boat to rescue his dad, or
She could have got somebody to watch her. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we're kind of writing that part into it and making our own head canon. But she could have easily just had somebody watch him. Like that part isn't that
yeah?
should
Because
be
this is stuff that I
she shouldn't
never
do that.
questioned. I
Hmm.
never questioned this stuff before. I was just like, oh yeah, he just kind of vanished, not really ever thinking like, well, where did he go?
Right? It's not like he was hiding somewhere on the boat.
No, because she
Uh,
and I mean,
yeah.
you preface this
Oh,
by a a wild fucking sex scene,
yeah.
and so
Appreciate it. I appreciate, a little, because I think a lot of the at the time, when I watched this, I well still do. Fuck, I had a crush on Ashley Judd. She was a
oh,
very
she's
attractive woman,
a beautiful woman.
and yeah, so I appreciated that scene a little bit more. I
But
forgot that was in the movie. To be honest, I forgot that scene was in there.
I've always kind of questioned because they literally, you go from a scene where they're having sex, and then you hard cut to her sleeping in a bathrobe. Number one, that can't be comfortable.
Yeah.
But she wakes up and the bathrobe is covered in blood. The floor of the cabin of the boat, again, covered in blood. She comes up onto deck and sees the knife on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
Recommendation number one, don't pick up that knife. If you don't pick up that knife,
Ooh. She was like, ooh, a knife. Let me pick this bitch up. I don't.
and then she's
Okay.
still holding it when the Coast Guard pulls up and she's like brandishing it.
Right?
Like,
Because that's not sketchy. That's not sketchy pulling up to that at all.
yeah, and she, obviously, she is then,
And
okay,
like, it's perfect timing of her waking up, first of all. That is perfect timing. She woke up at the right time.
yeah, because he had put in a
And
distress call.
she
He
didn't
put a
hear
distress
any
call.
of the
Sorry, go
fucking
ahead.
commotion. And she didn't hear any of the commotion that was going on. So she must have been drugged.
I
Like,
was thinking that.
she had to sleep through that. And I'm gonna assume the rope's put on her. I guess
I
we
don't
can
know. You'd have
assume
a hard.
that.
I feel like you'd have a hard time dressing somebody who's asleep.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe not.
But I mean,
She's tiny. She's tiny, skinny
regardless of
lady.
that,
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
I also wrote in my notes, how long were you asleep? Because when
Like night.
before they have this scene, like the sex scene, it's the middle of the day, and now all of a sudden it seems like it's not even night. It almost seems like it's almost morning. Like it's got that morning
Yeah,
fog type feel. And
yeah.
and like you say, she woke up at the precise right time because before going overboard, he put a distress call to the Coast Guard and then cut the cord of the radio. And she comes out on deck right as the Coast Guard is pulling up. So that's what, 20 minutes after he made the call, half an hour? Like, it's not like she woke up and she's been sitting there for 2 hours waiting for them to show up. It's like instant.
It's pretty quick. So yeah, I don't. Yeah. The
And then
timing.
I've heard another film podcast that I listened to discuss this movie, and I can't think of a better way to describe this, but Libby then ends up getting rich white lady arrested because not
Not
only do the cops come to arrest her, but they bring her lawyer with them, and her lawyer is the one who approaches her and says, "You're going to be arrested." And her immediate response is, "Not in front of my kid, okay?" Well, I'm sorry, lady. If you're getting arrested, they don't care if you're standing in front of the fucking Pope.
That's true, but yeah, she is a white lady and she's pretty.
Also, she doesn't, like, she just has a look of confusion on her face. There's no, "I didn't do this, you've got the wrong person." And I get that she's probably in
That's
shock,
what I'm
but I mean,
saying.
and she knows these people. She keeps referring to the cop as Cutter, like almost like they grew up together. So,
Yeah,
like,
first name basis, she definitely knows him decently.
it seems like a very small, very, very rich island community.
Yeah, so everybody kind of knows one another and knows each other's business and all that, right?
Yeah, and basically the lawyer says to her before, and he's like, "Oh, you guys got some life insurance a few months ago, and the policy is worth $2 million." And
Yeah.
her response is like, well, yeah, because Nick just wanted us to be taken care of. It's like, no, no, there's taken care of, and then there's $2 million,
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like the prosecuting attorney states, like that's motive. I don't.
One, yep, 100%. And yeah, like the way she was acting, it definitely would. If I didn't know that she was innocent, I would definitely assume she was guilty, just by the way she was acting.
Yeah, because
Um,
I mean, they don't have
it just
any
wasn't.
scenes where she's
She, yeah. There's no raw emotion. It's just pleading that she's innocent. There is
the
nothing
o-
like that. She's just
the
kind of being more nonchalant about it, giving me a little emotion, but not enough to make me believe that she it truly is innocent if I didn't know that she was innocent.
the only emotion you get is when she's actually on the stand, and she's like, "I didn't kill my husband. I love my husband," and that's the only real emotion. But anytime that she's like sitting and talking with her lawyer, she almost has a look on her face like, I've just accepted this and it just sucks. Like there's no fight.
Yeah. Or somebody who is guilty that doesn't want to accept it, or she's trying to believe her own lie.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the
You
other
know what I
thing is
mean?
they play the recording of Nick's distress call to the Coast Guard, and I know that because this is a movie, I know that it is, but this shit sounds fake. Like he's randomly throughout the recording just being like, "Oh God, oh, I'm like 3 miles away from this island. Oh God, it hurts." And I'm like, okay, this doesn't even.
Yeah, because if you heard real 911 calls, you know that yeah, it doesn't really sound like this when somebody is really going through a similar situation. So you instantly start to question that that's real. And no, it definitely sounded fake as fuck for sure.
The only incriminating part in the entire recording is he
And he
doesn't
didn't
say
even
I.
say, yeah, did he say he was being stabbed by his wife? Like my wife just stabbed me. Like I don't know why
All
she
he
did. Like
said,
I'm,
he just says I was stabbed.
yeah, yeah.
And then when Ashley Judd is so adamant that she didn't do it, this fucking prosecuting attorney, who is a bitch for like being this way, she's like, well, who could have done it? Could it have been aliens? Could aliens have murdered the president? And I'm like, okay, we don't need to go this far.
Like anybody couldn't pull up onto the boat if they knew where they were, kind of like the coast or whoever it was the Coast Guard.
Yeah,
Like the people,
but there are
they
legit
were able to
still
find them.
like there are still legit pirates in the ocean. They're not Long
Yeah,
John Silver, one-eyed, one peg-legged pirates, but
if you go into
there
the
are
wrong
still.
port, I'm gonna assume, yeah, there's some dangerous people out there that will rob you. So it's not completely out of the realm of that happening in that scenario. Way more likely than fucking aliens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The people that are assholes in this are they lay it on thick that they're assholes.
Well, and then you don't even
That lawyer was
see her
definitely
get.
an asshole.
You don't even see her get convicted. I mean, you obviously understand it because the lawyer like
Yeah.
apologizes to her, and then she asks her friend Angie if she would adopt Maddie, her son, because she's like, I don't want him to become a ward of the state, which is understandable, and she trusts her. She shouldn't, but she does. And she says, I want you to
Yeah.
adopt him and basically like take care of him until I get out, and then I can obviously resume my motherly duties. And
And she wouldn't have to worry about money because the inheritance would go into a trust for him. Now, Was that the plan the entire time?
See, I don't know because the thing is, if it goes into a trust, it can't be touched until the kid's 18.
True.
So even if that was the plan, it doesn't help immediately in terms of money problems.
No, no, it doesn't. It's okay. Yeah, no, it really doesn't. But uh,
But yeah, she
that would have been
so
nice if they would have rolled that into it was all part of the plan.
unless maybe he was hoping because he says later, spoiler alert, but he says later that he didn't or he never thought that they would convict her, which number one I think is bullshit because what else who else are they going to blame? But I don't know if he was hoping that maybe it would take them longer and she could get the payout and then basically say, okay, Angie, I'm going to transfer this money to you for Maddie. And then he would have access to it when he came back into the picture.
Yeah, and like the more I'm thinking about it, this motherfucker could have been because the things that he does throughout, like after after all this, especially with the accomplice there and what happened in her fate,
Oh, God.
was he this kind of person throughout his whole life? Like,
Dude,
was he just?
is Nick Parsons even his real name?
That's what I'm saying. How
She
long?
could
Like,
she could have been
has
his
he been
first
doing this
victim.
his whole life, just with different? Exactly.
Yeah, he
Was
could be a
she the
career
first victim?
he could be a career con man.
I think that's the case. The movie doesn't say it, but that would have been awesome if they would have put that into the movie. Like she wasn't the first victim, and this motherfucker was doing this his whole life. Because
Okay,
yeah,
so
that would just add so much to the movie, and it would make sense. It fits just with how this character is and how he goes from place to place. You know what I mean? Cutting off, killing loose ends and shit.
yeah.
It would totally make sense, and I think it would it makes the movie a little bit better to me if that with that little bit of headcanon there.
I was wondering that watching it this time too. So now that she's been convicted in prison, Libby befriends a fellow inmate who tells her about double jeopardy, a legal concept that you can't be tried for the same crime twice. Just a minute, we'll
Yeah.
get there. After hearing this, Libby learns that Nick is still alive. This
Hmm.
says she hears a voice, but she doesn't. We'll get to that too. And realizing Nick faked his death to frame her and start a new life, Libby vows revenge. Once she's out, she can kill him for real, and the law can't touch her. Wrong.
Well, no, that's what the movie said. That's what the
Well, the
lawyer, prison lady
yes,
said.
yeah, Roma Mafia. Who? What a name, by the way.
That's her
Roma
real name.
Mafia. Yeah, that's her real name, Roma Mafia. She
That's
plays an
fucking
inmate
awesome.
who used to be a lawyer and explains to her about this double jeopardy and basically says that you cannot be convicted of the same crime twice, and therefore, in her words, she could walk up to him in the middle of Times Square, put a gun to his head, and pull the fucking trigger, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. That's
Nope.
not true. Now,
No, man,
the
that
way
sounds
the
cool though.
it does, but the way the real double jeopardy law is worded is it says no person shall be subject for the same offense to be to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Basically, it means you can't be tried twice in the same jurisdiction for the same crime after being acquitted or convicted. So the way the movie misuses it is it says Libby believes that since she was already convicted of killing her husband, she can now kill him for real and not be punished because she can't be quote unquote tried twice for the same crime. However, it doesn't work because if Libby killed Nick after discovering he's alive, that would be a new and separate murder. So the double jeopardy protection only applies to the same act, not the same victim or charge at the same time.
So the movie should be called Double Murder.
The movie should be called anything else, because this is bullshit. I mean, the way they use it does make it a very compelling point to the movie and storyline. But unfortunately,
Yes.
it's almost like the person who wrote this movie heard of this law and just immediately went, "Oh, so you fake your death and you can kill somebody twice. There you go," and just decided to kind of manipulate the wording to fit what they wanted the outcome to be.
Which is fine. I mean, we got a thoroughly enjoyable film out of it, so I'm not hating on it. It just sucks that people are going to believe that just naive people, people ignorant people
You
will
and I
think
both
that's a
believed
real.
it.
I think 90% of the people with no legal
This came out.
expertise
This came out
would believe
26
it.
years ago. This came out 26 years ago, and and up until like 2 years ago, I thought this was real.
Right? The one thing about this movie, if you get nothing out of it, is you will know what double jeopardy means. You will know what that law means. Even though it's not true, it's not how the law works really, but you will know how it works in the movie, from the movie. That's something you just will remember, mostly because you think that it's a real law, when in fact it's not. But
So, I mean, okay, neither one of us have ever been to prison, and I'm assuming you have the same plans as me to never go.
no.
Why in
Oh,
this movie are they basically in one gigantic room like they're at sleepaway camp instead of in their own cells?
I know
Did that
certain
seem
certain
weird to you?
prisons. Some prisons have that set up, I think. Or maybe I'm just thinking of like juvenile detention halls or something.
Well,
Um,
she's not a juvenile; she's an adult.
no, but I want to say that's just how I don't know, man. I don't.
I mean, like I say, we've never been, so I don't know. But all of my reference for what prison looks like is
They're behind
movies,
bars,
TVs,
television.
or like documentaries where they go into like old closed prisons, and they all seem to have cells that would have between 2 and 4 bunkmates per cell.
Hmm.
So this movie, it's just a long room, and there's probably 150 women just on bunk bed cots, and that's their where they
That's
stay.
insane, man.
So I was a little confused by that. The other thing is when they show
Yeah,
now this being me, so this is the first time that I've ever watched this movie since I've had children. The scene where they have her son visiting and she can't even hold his hand, dude, that affected me on such a deep level
yeah, I
because
could see that.
I never thought of it before, but I was like, if I was convicted of a crime and put in prison and I couldn't hold my daughter's hand or give them a hug or anything like that, that would be enough to probably break me.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's one of the moments, the many in this movie, that just makes you feel for Ashley Judd's character.
They do make her very sympathetic very well.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And you only really see that like the kid only visits her the one time. Because then immediately it goes into she hasn't seen them and now she can't even get a hold of her friend Angie, and she resorts to calling the old school that she worked at, like that Angie worked at, and pretending to be her to get her new address or phone number. And this is kind of when the story really unfolds, which I don't know. I think that had she thought quicker, Angie could have brushed it off a little bit. Because when she finally does call and she's like, "Where have you been?" She's like, "Oh, like obviously Angie never expected her to track her down." So she's like, "Oh, we were coming to see you, I promise." And she's like, "Oh, just put my fucking kid on the phone, like spare me your bullshit," type thing. And as she's talking to Maddie on the phone, Nick walks in and the kid just goes, "Daddy." Now, if I was Angie, I immediately would grab the phone and go, "Oh, that's just my boyfriend. Maddie likes to call him daddy." Like I would do everything I could to kind of pawn it off. But she basically just takes the phone and starts mouthing, "Libby, Libby."
Right? And then proceeds to go.
And he just rips the phone right out of the wall.
Cord. Yeah, rips it up. And then cut to her making the realization, but it's like, just question that whole shot of her walking through the prison in its slow motion.
But again, there's no realization because so like I looked it up on a few different places, and all of them basically,
she's totally assuming because even if he said daddy, I mean she just immediately.
Well, everything I saw said that she heard Nick's voice. He never says anything. So immediately the kid goes, "Daddy," and Ashley Judd's like, Nick,
yeah,
Nick, is that you?
Like, immediately, as if she heard him.
Yeah, I don't know if there was something cut, but she immediately jumps to that conclusion. Now, obviously, because we've seen the movie, she's correct. But could you imagine what would happen if she did all the stuff that she ends up doing, tracks down Angie, and she's just living with a guy that she's been with now for 6 years while she's been in prison, and her husband really is dead?
That would have been a crazy twist. That would have been a good way to go about it if they wanted to go that route, and the writing was good, to where you as the audience believe that this guy is alive, like we believe what she believes, and then for that twist to hit, oh man, that shit would have hit hard.
I mean, you'd have to figure out a way to make it believable, but if you could, it would be a really interesting way to kind of twist what you would expect the story to be.
Yeah. But no, not in this case. She assumes right really quickly. So a whole lot of evidence merely based on her own believability of what she thought she put together in her own head. So yeah. So we go, and she gets it's shortly after she hears about the double jeopardy law, right? It's after that. It's shortly after that scene. And then she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna start I'm Batman." She starts training like Batman.
It's the workout montage with
she does a whole Ben Affleck Justice League workout fucking scene.
But
I was like, all right.
I think it's the only workout or training montage that I've ever seen that doesn't have like inspirational music behind it.
Okay. No, I didn't really notice. Yeah, there's definitely, if there was music, it wasn't like swelling and motivational music.
But,
no. But she is training like a beast.
What I was curious about is they never tell you what she was arrested or charged with.
Right? I was thinking that. Like, was it?
How is
it wasn't
she
second
eligible?
Degree? Is it manslaughter? It had to be on the manslaughter route.
Because
it couldn't be second degree, first degree.
I don't know.
Any degree of the murder.
It's hard because they never actually find a body. He's just pronounced and declared dead.
So yeah,
but what
automatically murder is Can't be charged with murder without having them. Or no, I think you can, but so
But
I'm gonna
what
assume it's
kind like
manslaughter.
is 6 years a believable length of time before you can apply for parole?
I'm gonna assume in certain states when it comes to manslaughter, yeah,
Yeah, I don't
sure.
know. I didn't really look. I didn't really look it up, but
But
yeah,
again,
she's eligible for.
the 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 rules of how the law works are completely twisted. So, so I would assume no. Even in the case of manslaughter, you might not get paroled in 6 years. But who knows?
Yeah, because like we're saying, she ends up at the facing the parole board, which looks like it's being taken. The parole hearing is taking place in an elementary school gym.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, do they have school gyms in prison? Did they
I mean,
transport her? Like I was just thinking that as that
put her
scene
in
was
an
going by.
like any other room, and it would
Oh,
be more
room,
believable than this setting.
not a basketball court in a gymnasium. Like no,
But it literally reminded me of my elementary school gym. It was a basketball court with a stage behind it.
yeah,
That literally describes my elementary school's gym.
that's a lot of yeah. Well, the city that we're from, um, that's definitely how the majority of elementary schools are built.
Well, after 6 years in prison, Libby gets paroled into the custody of Travis Lehman, played by Tommy Lee Jones, a tough but fair parole officer and ex-lawyer. Libby begins searching for her son and Nick, breaking parole rules in the process, leading Travis to chase her across states. Being
Yeah,
that being that this is Tommy Lee Jones chasing her, this had a lot of fugitive vibes.
a little bit. He didn't have his team. He didn't have his team with him. He didn't have Joey Pants with him, but yeah, it seemed like that, but he was doing like a solo
He
mission.
doesn't need Joey Pants. He's got his fucking flask of whiskey.
That's all he needs. That's all Tommy Lee Jones needs.
I mean, she
But yeah,
starts off with it's and what's really funny is so if we're meant to believe this movie takes place present day, which would be 99. That means that she would have been sentenced to prison in 93. So it is believable that she would be at a library having no fucking clue how to use the internet.
100%.
Now, the guy
It
who
was
comes to
still newish even then. Yeah, so
I mean the guy
yeah,
who
not
comes to
having
help
any
her,
experience. Oh yeah, the guy, the
so
foreign
creepy.
college student, a little bit.
Don't don't ever don't ever tell somebody that you enjoy the way they smell
His
if they're
chance.
if they're a stranger.
Yeah, his approach to hitting on her was very creepy. Yeah, don't do that, fellas. Next time,
Also,
if you are ever
what? Okay, put yourself in her shoes. You know that in order to do what you have to do, you're going to break parole. You're going to have to go kind of in on the lam. Would the first thing you do not be cut, dye your hair, put on like fakes like glasses or sunglasses, a hat, like
any type of
anything to
disguise.
mask your appearance?
I mean, I would.
This woman does none of it.
Nope, she does not.
I,
She did not think that far ahead.
but she thinks far enough ahead to go back to the town that she lived in, to the school, to try and get the headmistress to give her confidential records of a former employee. Now I get it. She's doing it on the pretense of I want to get my kid back. But Did you happen to catch what this headmistress says to her? To me, it might be one of the wildest things in the movie.
I don't think so. What? No, why? What's up? What'd you say?
She basically says Maddie has been with Angie for 6 years.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's
Oh,
basically
just forget about her. Yeah.
she's basically telling her like Maddie's been with Angie for 6 years. You might as well just move on and forget you ever had a child. What?
Because her logic was like traumatize them or something. You don't want to traumatize them or some shit like that. It's like that's my okay, all right. You know what?
He'll,
Yeah,
he'll
you're
get
right. I'm
over
not
it.
gonna try and reunite with the person that I created. Come on, man. So yeah, I remember her saying that shit. I was like, huh?
Good Lord.
Saying that to any mother, and you fucking get your fucking face slapped. What are you talking about?
Dude, my jaw was on the floor for like 5 minutes.
But at this point, she believes she's a murderer, so
I get it, but I mean, you wouldn't say that to somebody who lost their dog, let alone their child.
if I know you are a murderer, well, she's not, you know,
But isn't
I
that the whole
believe that
thing about like
then maybe I would
when
be a little bit more cold, but I wouldn't, I don't know. I wouldn't be so friendly to her.
I certainly don't think I would tell her to forget about him.
No, I wouldn't say anything like that. But yeah,
But she
yeah.
immediately basically takes that, walks away, and then comes back at night when the school is closed and breaks in to find um, whatever updated contact information they have for Angie, because I'm assuming she would have looked up the address she had in San Francisco and they weren't there.
Hmm.
And this is ridiculous because she sees the cops show up and decides to fucking turn a lamp on.
Yeah,
Like
that was
that's
weird.
and obviously ends up getting caught. And then the ferry scene.
It was a good little chase, though. It was
I
a
mean,
good
it
little
is
chase before she got caught. I
it
thought
is.
because it showed her this montage of her running. I thought she had gained some speed. I thought she was going to out fucking run these guys. Because
Yeah,
it
but she's
showed her
running on
training
sand.
running. Why would it show her training running and it did not pay off? I don't think it paid off at all in the movie.
No, not at
But
all.
I thought
I mean,
that was going to come into play. But
it
no,
might have if
she
they
got
didn't
caught.
initially chase her in a vehicle.
Exactly. Yeah, true. But they did crash, and I thought, okay, this one she's just going to like fucking put
Dude,
on the wheels.
they
You
crashed,
know?
rolled that Jeep, and both guys got out like they had just put the car in park.
Yeah, I thought, okay, they're gonna be seriously injured, so they couldn't keep up with her, and she's just
Or
gonna
at
outrun them.
or at least dizzy.
Or they're, yeah, no, they catch her without a scratch on them.
Yeah, they catch her, basically hand her over to Tommy Lee Jones, and then he drives his car onto the ferry and continues to be a terrible parole officer. Because
I mean, yeah, he made some pretty major mistakes.
so first off, he handcuffs her to the outside handle to the car. That's fine. I'm okay with that because that handle's not going anywhere. But then
Oh, it's
he
not?
leaves. Well, no, but then he leaves the car with the keys in the goddamn ignition.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I don't leave my keys. I don't even like leaving my keys in my car, let alone in the ignition.
No, it would feel gross, even if you know the car's not going anywhere. You're on a ferry. It would still feel weird. to
But
do
you know
that.
what he's thinking? He's just got to get upstairs and get his coffee and
He's got
pour
to,
his fucking
yeah, he's got to get his drink on. He's getting
his
his drink
booze
on, but he
in.
wasn't thinking. He wasn't thinking clearly. He's thinking about the booze that he had. So maybe that's yeah,
Also,
a
I don't
reason
know a
to use
ton.
that.
I don't know a ton about cars, but am I mistaken? So when she's sitting in the passenger seat, she can barely reach the gas pedal. How does she shift the car into drive and reverse without using the brake? Or do they just not show her push the brake?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to the shifting of
Because her
gears.
plan is to basically take this car and ram the door handle up against a pole to try and get the handcuff to break off or the handle to break off, and nobody notices.
Nobody hears her fucking
She hit
crashing into these cars
she hit,
multiple times.
she hits a car off the edge into the water. And the only
Yep,
person
and
who
now
sees is Tommy Lee Jones just as the last little bit of that car goes under the water.
and then he looks down, and then the car like
As if
she's
to
right
say,
there.
as if to say,
Like, wait a
how
minute.
who could be doing this? I'm sorry. If you're transporting a prisoner, I'm pretty sure he was supposed to go and let the captain of the ship know, like,
But it's not in the and for them to show that means the majority of the people should have heard that because it wasn't
absolutely.
too far from where the people were. If you're crashing, if your metal's crashing into metal, you're going to hear that, especially being so close. But nobody reacted. No one heard. That shit was that's okay. I was like, all right, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, totally unbelievable. And
well, what's
yeah,
even what then becomes even more unbelievable is he gets down there, gets in the car with her as she drives it off into the water, and now he's realizing, okay, I have to undo her handcuff because I can't let her die.
yeah, because he's a good guy at the end of the day.
He They then fight in the water. She has somehow gotten a hold of his gun and
Mm-hmm.
hits him with his gun and swims away.
Gets
Now,
the fuck out of here.
logically, wouldn't you think that he could go up to the captain and say, I need you to radio the police on land. She is swimming west or whatever direction. Have them be waiting at the beach when she gets there. Nope. No, we're just going to let her get away.
Well, yeah. I mean, even if he did that, she wouldn't have been there because the shore was right there. That little boy seen her go on the shore and start running. So by the time they got there, then she would have been long gone. Uh, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I guess, but I mean, also, was there a reason that they just showed that one boy seeing her, or was that supposed to come to something?
No, just to establish that she escaped and
Okay.
she's on land and running. No, he didn't.
Yeah,
No.
because I think after this, her next step is she goes home to her mother's, and I got a
Mm-hmm.
real. So I only watched like the first few episodes of Arrested Development, but I got a real Arrested Development vibe when she
Oh
digs under
yeah,
tomato plants and pulls out like a stack of money, and I could just hear there's always money in the banana stand.
because she says something similar. She's like, "There's always this this
I always said there was money in tomatoes or something like that, but
yeah."
you,
So yeah, it's the same kind of vibe.
you get the hint that her father is like a degenerate gambler because her mom's like, "Oh yeah, your dad's off at the the Legion again playing gin or whatever.
Yeah, and they're yeah, and I don't know how the time passage of time isn't really shown, and we don't know
No, it's
where the mom really lives. So I'm gonna assume she found her mom. She went home within a few hours because if this was days, cops would have been already showed up
oh,
at the mom's
100%.
house. So it had to have been
Also,
quick.
I feel like she would be on the news. Like
Oh
this
yeah,
is just one guy chasing her. At this point, this would be a manhunt.
yeah, 'cause she's an escaped. Well,
Fugitive.
she's a fugitive at that point.
But
Yeah,
so this is when she gets to Colorado, and you had mentioned about Nick's um, other activities. You find out that he moved to Colorado with Angie and Maddie, and Angie blew up.
yeah.
There was some kind of gas leak and an
Conveniently, there's a gas leak. Kills
explosion.
just her.
Yeah, because him and Maddie were out of the house. Oh, and now he's known as Simon.
Conveniently, conveniently.
So that's where you were
Huh.
like we were saying maybe this is a little pattern that he's got going on here.
Oh, he definitely murdered the fuck out of her for sure.
I mean, that's what you're kind of led to believe, and that brings us now. So after that, Libby tracks down clues that lead her to New Orleans, where she finds Nick living under a new name, Jonathan Devereaux, as a wealthy art dealer and a hotel owner. She confronts him at a fancy gala, confirming his deception. Nick flees, and the police suspect Libby of further crimes. Now,
In New Orleans, right?
okay, I've been to New Orleans when I was a little kid. You
Me too.
went, I know you went fairly recently.
Like last
What
year.
is this foghorn leghorn accent that he is doing?
It's he's laid it on thick. It isn't completely terrible, but it is thick. It is very thick.
But he could have
And yeah,
just done, he could have done a different accent and been like, do like, I don't know, a New York accent and just say that I'm now living in New Orleans. Because people down there are going to be like, you don't sound like us, but you're saying that you're from here. Because he
yeah,
walked.
well, I mean, from my experience from New Orleans, there were some people that had it subtle. They had the subtle accent, and I did meet a gentleman who he was a part of the swamp tour. He was the guide, and he definitely had a foghorn leghorn like accent. So I can't completely say that that doesn't exist
I mean,
in New
because he,
Orleans. Like you won't find that type of that accent there. But yeah, his still it was so thick in a way that it was completely unbelievable.
it's cartoonish. I mean, he walks on and he's like, well, hello, folks. I'm a Jonathan Devereaux.
And then especially when it goes to that, and when he talks to Ashley Judd's character aside, which is still an earshot of a lot of people,
Oh, yeah, just his
completely
normal voice.
drops the accent. Yeah. And then he goes back to it in the next scene. It's like, all right, come on, man. You don't have to stop talking like this.
Yeah, it's a little much. Um, but so Libby confronts him. I do love the the look of realization on his face when he sees her walk through the crowd.
Yeah, and honestly, he should have known by her voice. He should have
I
recognized
think
her voice immediately. he had
I
his
think,
ears perked up, but then he kind of like didn't really, nothing came of it.
yeah, I
He
think
kind of
he
just
did
went along with
notice.
it.
I think he did notice her voice at first because you can see his eyes kind of bulge, but then he kind of almost just like dismisses it, like, no, there's no way. And then as she
Yeah.
walks through the crowd, he's like, well, I'm fucked.
Mm-hmm. Which is
And
good.
she
It was fun.
basically says to him, I want um I want Maddie. Like, that's why I'm here. I want our son, like, and basically says, meet me at the cemetery tomorrow. Now, when I was in New Orleans, it was just for a day because it was a stop off on a cruise when I was a kid. So I didn't get to go see any of this. Now, I
Mm.
know and I understand that the cemeteries are a big tourist attraction in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I went to it.
What I will never understand is tourists taking pictures of a random person's funeral procession.
I can only excuse that for New Orleans because that's what they're known for. They're kind of famous for having those style of funerals, but it's not in good taste to do that at all, no matter
No,
what.
because that's what's going on here. There's a funeral going on, and the two of them go into this cemetery, and he's like, "Okay, here's Maddie," and the kid keeps like running away from her until the point where he's lured her to an area where there's nobody else, and basically runs away again. And
Was that
Nick,
ki- was that kid part of the plan, or is that just a
yeah,
random kid?
he paid. I don't know. He's just a random kid, but he paid him.
Oh, he definitely played
He
the kid.
he gave him like $20 to be an accomplice to this
Oh,
attempted
okay.
murder.
He, I'm surprised he didn't kill her when he smashed her motherfucking head on the goddamn gravestone or whatever. That
Yeah, he
shit was
hits her,
hard.
and then
And
he
why
puts
didn't he
her
kill her? Why didn't he just kill her?
because he's like a Bond. It's like he thinks he's a Bond villain.
There's definitely some Bond villain energy because anybody would have just strangled her right in that
Well, and also
easily accessible grave site.
he opens the door to a little mausoleum and puts her in a casket with a dead
No,
body.
that would have
But
never worked unless he unlocked it himself. Those things have giant locks on them. There's
absolutely
no
they do.
way.
But
There's
he
no
doesn't
way.
even. But he leaves the gun. She has a gun tucked in her pants.
Yeah,
He doesn't even
doesn't
pat her
check her
down
for
to make
no,
sure. No,
no,
nothing.
doesn't need it. Yeah, that's some Bond villain shit for sure. I was like, this guy, he's all right. I mean, anybody would have just took her out right there and just left her dead body in that casket and
Yeah,
wiped his hands, and he would have been that would have been the end of the
but
movie right there.
but yeah, her being able to find the gun, she's able to shoot out the hinges and get the lid off, and then it's just a fucking glass window she has to break through to get out. But all while this is going on, Travis, initially skeptical, begins to believe Libby's story after uncovering evidence of Nick's frauds and insurance schemes. Libby confronts Nick at the cemetery where he tries to kill her. In the struggle, oh, sorry, that's the end. But yeah, then in the struggle at his office, Libby shoots Nick, finally killing the man who framed her. This all of these interactions that Samuel Jackson, good lord, I can't fucking
Whoa,
talk. Tommy
that would have
Lee
been a good
Jones,
movie.
it's the 3-part name. Tommy Lee Jones has with Nick is he keeps asking him, like, oh, this woman's trying to kill you. Oh, I don't know who she is. And he's okay. But he keeps coming back because he's starting to realize something about this guy isn't adding up. And
And yeah, yeah. And okay, he is been on the run, search, on her trail for all this time. He knows she's a murderer. He didn't at all have a picture of who the husband was at all at any point.
no,
You would think he would have done more research, so he at least would have known what the husband looked like. Okay.
You would think, but that's why, like, and just before he goes in for this final time to confront Nick, you actually see him catch Ashley Judd going to the hotel after she's escaped the cemetery. So he goes in and he tells him, "Oh yeah, I was really thinking, and some of the stuff that this woman was talking about kind of made sense. So I contacted the DMV in Washington, and they sent me over a picture of Nicholas Parsons, and he pulls up a driver's license of an old man. And he's like, but it's a pretty common name. So I looked further into it, and it turns out there's like 6 of you. And look who's number 3. And he pulls out the photo with Bruce Greenwood's picture on it. And immediately Bruce Greenwood starts, what do you want?
Yeah, you know.
And he says,
you got caught. So
he says, I want $1 million. He says, well, I have $100,000 in the safe here. The rest I can get for you tomorrow. And when he asks about Libby, again, not fully incriminating himself, but he basically just says, we don't have to worry about that anymore. That problem is buried.
yeah, she's taken care of, or whatever else it says after.
And as this is going on, who should walk in the room? Brandishing a gun, no less, but Libby. And basically she explains that her and Layman are in on it together now at this point because he's now realized the truth. Now they're going to, she doesn't want to kill Nick. What they're going to do is they're going to fake her death and frame Nick for it by putting a shovel, some of her hair, some of her blood in the trunk of his car, and it'll look like he buried her just like he says on the tape because Tommy Lee Jones has been recording this conversation. Now, that whole thing, she might like, that's so convoluted. The whole point of the movie is double jeopardy. You can kill him. Why are we messing with this whole plan? And I get that she just wants the kid back and the whole deal, but you're just adding more complications to the story if this is the way you want to go.
Absolutely. The whole point of what we all thought was when she finally confronts him, she was going to eventually just shoot him. She was going to murder him.
Well, like Roma Mafia said, you can walk up to him in Times Square, put a gun to his head, and pull the fucking trigger.
Yeah, that's what we all thought was going to happen. Like she said it, so that's.
When she's talking about like, oh yeah, we're going to frame you, whatever, and then he finally gives up where the son is, which number one, he shipped him off to a fucking boarding school in Georgia. But when you find out where the son is, I thought for sure as soon as he said the location, she was just going to put one in his head. Now, clearly that's not what happens because they're just going to leave and he pulls a gun and shoots Tommy Lee Jones in the shoulder and the two of them go at it.
The fact that he didn't just unload the clip.
I know.
In Tommy Lee Jones, he sees him like pass out. He's like, Tommy Lee Jones goes, and then he looks over. He's like, all right, you did, I guess. I don't know. I'm just gonna.
Now it's your turn, Libby.
It's like fucking shoot him 3 more times, man. He's a terrible villain. He's a terrible, terrible villain.
But what's so funny is
he's a terrible job at being a villain.
Is so him and Tommy Lee Jones start fighting over the gun until he finally bests him by punching his bullet wound. And he stands up holding the gun on Tommy Lee Jones. And Ashley Judd just one shot to the heart. And all I could think when I watched this time, especially because he hits a mirror and slides down so that when his face is out of frame, you can see her reflection in the mirror. Dude, all I could think of this time, she might as well have looked right at him and just went, It's called Double Jeopardy, motherfucker.
That'd been awesome. If she has
Like
like a
that's
warm
where
hug
we're
like
at
that,
with.
that'd been awesome. We might as well have done it. We're already there.
That's where we're at.
We are. Yes, sir.
But yeah, he so obviously Nick is dead. And yeah, she's off scot free because they're worrying about Layman with the paramedics, and she's just standing there, no handcuffs, nobody's questioning her, nobody could seemingly care less.
Right? As if she already went through the
And Tommy Lee
trial.
Jones just says to her, "Nope, we're going to go back to law." Well, as if that law is real, like the way they portray it. But so he says, "No, you're going to come with me back to Washington. We're going to get you pardoned, and then we're going to go, find your son." To which
Mhm.
they go to Georgia to find her son. Now, I could be wrong. This could happen, but when she goes to prison, her son has bright blonde hair. Now, all of a
Yep.
sudden, he's covered in freckles and has red hair. I don't think that's the same kid. I don't think that's her son.
Dun, dun, dun. That's the twist that they don't tell you about. And
But,
yeah, no, the scene was nice,
I
even
mean,
though,
okay,
yeah, they
it's
established that her
done.
son has blonde hair, this kid does not have blonde hair, but I guess we're not, I guess they didn't expect us to remember the hair color of the son
It's done
before,
in a,
but okay.
it's done in a weird way because if you've lived for 6 years, and he even says they told me that you were dead. So if you have lived 6 years thinking that your mother was dead, and then all of a sudden she's going to reveal herself to you, wouldn't you think the best way to do it would be to bring the kid into a room, kind of prepare him, like lay the groundwork before this giant bombshell is dropped on him? Nope, she just walks onto the soccer field and she's like, "Hi,
Oh,
Maddie.
bum
See
rush
you in
him.
a while."
Bum, just gonna, just pop out, pop in a freaking soccer game. Or was it a soccer game? Or just a
Yeah,
random day?
yeah, they were playing soccer at school, but she
And
just pops out.
he doesn't really have a proper emotional reaction. He's
No, he's
kind
in
of
shock.
just, yeah, but
But
yeah,
yeah, all he
I guess
says is
like a numbing shockness to where there's even in a shock state, you'd still have some emotion. Like you would still
well,
display some emotion.
because all that's said is she asks, "Do you know who I am?" And he nods and goes, "They told me you were dead." "Oh no, I'm not dead. I'm here to take you away, basically." And then they hug, and there's a freeze frame. Movie over.
No, well that okay. When they hug, did you notice? Because I sure did. I rewound it as they're hugging. The son, is crying, but those tears are fucking CGI. Those aren't real tears at all.
I didn't notice it, but it doesn't
They're
surprise me.
they're CG as hell. Because the way they came down his face I was like, no way. That's not how tears work. So I
And
rewound it and I was like, yeah. That's fake as shit.
and it's not like this kid has never acted or anything like
No,
that. He's done quite a few things.
yeah,
I mean,
he's been in something recently. I seen him in as like an adult. I think he was in
well,
like Gen V or some shit, like
he's
something I seen
Lucius.
recently.
He's Lucius in Gladiator the next year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, he's in Gladiator 2 as Lucius. He's been in Chicago Fire, SWAT, Mystic River, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, the kid works.
Yeah, he's still working today. It was good. I forgot. I've seen it in something. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. I'm glad that he grew up. He's still working. It's still doing acting. It's always nice when you see that.
Yeah, so that's the end of Double Jeopardy. I mean, she gets what she wanted. She kills her
Pretty,
husband for
yeah,
real this time.
I'd say a pretty satisfying ending.
I
Not
would
not a
agree. I mean,
satisfying epilogue. I didn't really like the epilogue after the fact, but the ending with her getting the revenge was satisfying.
they almost could have done the epilogue in a way of being like, just do it with no audio. Have it be like her in a police station and he gets brought in and they just kind of go towards each other and hug and then
That
just
would have
kind
been
of
a
fade to
yeah,
black. That would be I would think that would be a better epilogue than what we got.
yeah. It would have been a lot better.
But
Definitely.
like I said, that's Double Jeopardy, and if there's nothing more that you would like to discuss, we can move into our final thoughts and ratings.
Uh, no, I had something, but the movie answered it after. Oh, just
What's that?
her being in New Orleans. I definitely, even though it was set in '99 and I went last year, I definitely walked the same streets that she walked because I recognized a lot of the same places that she was in. So that was
I
kind of
was just
cool.
I was assuming
That
she
was
was
kind of
just
cool.
basically walking on Bourbon Street.
Yes, the majority of the shots were definitely in Bourbon Street, and that's where the majority of I spent my time. So yeah, it's kind of cool, just seeing shit like that. Like, oh, I was there, I was in that spot.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool when when movies are actually shot on location that you've been to, and you can point out and recognize things that you've actually seen in person.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool. Plus, I love New Orleans. I have a newfound love for that city. So anytime now something is set in New Orleans, I appreciate it a little bit more.
Well, off mic, I'll recommend you a movie that's in New Orleans if you've never seen it.
Mm, okay. Oh, don't say that. Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme in it?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. All right.
So we will move it
Okay.
now into final thoughts, and as this was my suggestion, I'll go first. So yeah, this movie really fits right into what we're doing right now with these guilty pleasure movies. If you look at this movie objectively, the critics got it right. It's not a great movie. It's not edited very well. It's kind of poorly paced at times. However, that being said, I have a deep love for this movie. I've enjoyed it since the first time I saw it. It's just a fun ride to go on. And even though, like we've discussed in this episode, the interpretation of the law is completely wrong and bullshit, it really makes for a good setting and a good through point and storyline for the movie. Um, I think the main characters, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee Jones, Bruce Greenwood, all are phenomenal in this movie. I think they really embody their characters well. Bruce Greenwood is enjoyable to watch as a villain, even when he's in his cartoon Foghorn Leghorn phase.
I
But yeah,
say.
yeah, Jonathan Devereaux. But yeah, it's just a fun movie to sit down and watch. It's a real, what a lot of people would call a real dad movie. Just something you could sit on a weekend and you're flipping through, and it's on TBS or any like one of those random channels, Showcase or something like that. If it's on, you might. I would probably sit and watch it. I would probably give this. I would give this a recommend across the board. There's a lot in it. There's a little bit of comedy. There's decent action and chases. And if you can allow yourself, if you don't know the real version of the law and you can allow yourself to suspend disbelief, it's a lot of fun. So, as I said, I'm going to recommend this across the board, and I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Mm, pretty high, but okay, I can see that. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this movie, as I did when I first seen this years ago. Uh, yeah, this movie is pretty good. As far as story, it's pretty simple. The plot is ridiculously unbelievable, but um, the direction I really appreciated. This movie definitely has some good, definitely some good like thriller moments. It's thrilling. It just the whole tension with her, being chased throughout the movie. I appreciated. Um, Anything with the legal aspect of it, you have to basically Mr. Fantastic stretch your disbelief in terms of the legal procedures in this movie, the plot, the writing, all of that. But if you can do that, you'll have a hell of a lot of fun with this. Um, I appreciate her going on this mission, this revenge mission of justice. Um, I think it came to a satisfying conclusion. The As far as characters, besides the main three, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee Jones, and the villain, I think they all gave pretty good, strong performances. Um, every other character was basically there for either plot device or to explain something. They didn't have any depth, but the acting of the side characters were good. So acting across the board was satisfactional. It was pretty good. Um, I would totally recommend this movie for anybody who, if you definitely are into true crime stories and you frequent Dateline, the podcast, or the actual channel, the network, and you're into those things, or you're just downright into like thriller movies with enough of a story to keep you interested, and I think this is what this does. Um, yeah, I totally recommend it to those people, and I would give this a 6 out of 10.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of this episode. Juan, what are we watching next?
All right, I gotta set this up. Okay, Kyle, I'm a man who loves a lot of things. You know,
I hate you so much. I know where this is going.
I love my friends. I love my family. I love this podcast. I love movies. I love cheeseburgers. I love spending the night with a beautiful woman. But more than all of that, I love being a turtle. So next week, we will be watching TMNT 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Let's
The sequel.
go.
Yeah.
We get some good old ninja rap.
Yeah. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
All right.
Definitely. Oh
That's
yeah.
I haven't watched. I mean, it's probably been a good 10 years since I've watched that movie.
I think I watched it a few years ago because I was trying to make a video of me dancing to the Ninja rap,
Oh
but
god.
but I haven't watched the movie in its entirety in a while.
I just remember
So
I remember David Werner, I remember Toka and Razor and
I remember the opening was good. Um, the fight scene with Shred at the end was good. Yeah,
this
the
is this is the one where
Bebop Rocksteady replacements were pretty good, or not good, but
But this
The
is the
fact
one
that
where
this
they.
movie came out a year later, like once you start, oh man, once you start reading the behind the scenes, and you're like, oh my God, man, why'd they
But
do this?
this is the movie that after the first one, parents thought it was too violent, so they won't let them actually use their weapons. I vividly
Hmm?
remember one of the scenes Michelangelo is using sausage links instead of his
Yeah,
nunchucks.
that's at the begin. That's the opening of the movie, man. And that shit was legendary. Yeah, they beating the shit out of him with that. I think, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was other things too, like they were fighting him with pizza and shit. Yeah, they were using everything but their actual ninja weapons in that one.
Well, you heard it here. Join us for our next episode where we will watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
Yes, sir.
As always, please rate and review the podcast and tell your friends about it, how we help the show grow. Give us a follow on our social media pages. They will be listed in the show notes as usual. And as always, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.